There is just one Schlitz, yeah, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
Greetings to everyone. We are Group 5 from BSBA 1B and we are going to tackle the Schlitz Brewing Company. With this, we're going to discuss the company's brief history, their previous process, the implementation of tools and techniques for quality improvement, and also the results of application of tools and techniques for quality improvement.
There is just one Schlitz, yeah, yeah, nothing else comes.
The Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company was an American brewery based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and one of the largest producers of beer in the United States. So here is a timeline of the specific events that happened during the years of the company. In 1849, a German immigrant named August Krug opens a small restaurant and tavern in Milwaukee, begins to brew beer, and turns it into a brewery. In 1850, Joseph A. Schlitz, 20, immigrates from Germany and works for Krug as a bookkeeper. In 1856, Krug dies, leaving no offspring, and Schlitz takes over management of the brewery. And in 1858, Schlitz marries Krug's widow, Anne-Marie. In 1861, the brewery is renamed the Joseph Schlitz Brewery. Schlitz runs it with Krug's four nephews, the Eline brothers. In 1871, the Great Chicago Fire destroys many of that city's breweries, giving Schlitz an opening to expand his business. In 1875, Schlitz travels to Germany and presumed dead when his ship sinks in a storm. Since he had no children with Krug's widow, the Eline brothers takes over the brewery. In 1893, the company introduces the slogan, "The beer that made Milwaukee famous." In 1902, Schlitz surpasses Pabst as the world's best-selling beer after selling 1 million barrels that year. In 1920, Prohibition begins. The brewery makes soda, malt syrup, and candy. It survives because the Eline brothers have extensive real estate holdings. In 1934, Prohibition ends. Schlitz resumes production and retakes #1 sales spot. In 1953, a strike by Milwaukee brewery workers hurt brewers like Pabst, Blatz, and Schlitz, which lose market shares to rivals such as Anheuser-Busch. In 1954, Schlitz briefly rebounds to again be the world's best-selling beer. In 1955, Anheuser-Busch takes over the top spot, which it still holds. In 1975, immediate family management of Schlitz ends, and outsiders take over the operation. Mid to late 1970s, Schlitz sales fall and the old formula was gone. In 1982, the Straw Brewery Corporation acquires Schlitz, and in 1999, the Pabst Brewing Corporation buys Schlitz from Straw. And finally, in 2008, Schlitz reintroduces the classic formula.
There is just one Schlitz, yeah, yeah, nothing else comes.
So now, let's talk about the previous process of Schlitz Brewing Company. Their previous process and result of their performance excellence, they informed their consumers in detail about the production process. They provided information in brewing process, such as about water and air filtration methods. Schlitz talked constantly of clean production using pure and high-quality ingredients, such as malt, malted barley, and fresh hops, and the efforts of the firm to maintain the high quality of its products.
In concern with their competitors, Schlitz introduced a new consumer commodities to support its claim and scientific leadership. A key innovation was the brown bottle, introduced in 1911, which is a pioneering step to prevent the harmful rays of lights from destroying the quality and the stability of beer. Other leading distributions of beer making introduced by Schlitz including the enzymatic control, eliminating of air from bottles prior to filling, vitamin addition, and the improvement along the technical lines.
There is just one Schlitz, yeah, yeah, nothing else comes.
Greetings to each and everyone. Today, I will going to discuss the implementation of tools and techniques used for quality improvements of Schlitz Brewing Company. The Schlitz Brewing Company cut their brewing time in order to meet consumer demand while reducing cost. Schlitz decided to shorten the brewing time from 40 to 15 days. Due to the shortened brewing time, Schlitz had to use an artificial gel silica to counter the hazing effect. The second one is label envy. The Schlitz Brewing Company started using unnatural ingredients and artificial anti-haze additive called Chill Guard. Schlitz Brewing Company managers were fearful that the FDA would soon require ingredients to be tested on the label, and they would be exposed for using unnatural ingredients. And lastly, Schlitz nut. The Schlitz also added calcoloid to the bottles and cans, a commonly used for foam stabilizing. The calcoloid reacted with chill garde to form little white flakes in the bottles and cans. The white flakes become worse the longer the beer sat on the shelf.
There is just one Schlitz, yeah, nothing else comes.
Okay, so let's now move on to the next slide, which is the fall of Schlitz Brewing Company. In 1976 experienced major problem with flaky or hazy beer due to the production problems. Meanwhile, Schlitz was running into trouble with its mainstream brand after an attempt to disguise to consumers what it was putting into its beer. Its use of silica gel would show up in harsh contrast to its rivals such as Anheuser-Busch, who aged their beers longer, allowing the protein to settle out naturally and therefore did not need to use artificial anti-haze products. For months, Schlitz kept quiet about the problem, with Uylin arguing that the haze was not actually physically harmful to drinker and in any case not much of the beer would be kept at temperatures at which the haze would form. Drinkers did complain to the company, sales began to drop, and Schlitz had to make a secret recall of 10 million bottles of beer, costing it to $1.4 million. In 1977 to 1980, Schlitz officials did not act on the problem until sales, profits, market share, and capacity utilization had already begun plummeting. By 1980, Schlitz sales had declined 40%, the stock price fell from $69 to $5, and the company was eventually sold. In 1982, the company had been stopped their production and unable to close their product. One analysis has estimated that the Schlitz brand lost more than 90% of its value between 1974 and the final year of independence. The debt Straw took on to pay for acquiring Schlitz was ultimately too much more for the Detroit company to carry, and it collapsed in 1999. Ironically, in the fire sale that followed, the Schlitz brand was acquired after all by Pabst Brewing Company. The disastrous effect of deciding to reduce product quality by salami slice is now known in business circles as the Schlitz mistake. Cut costs, boost short-term profits, and still maintain a long-term future for the company. Cost-cutting cost the company its reputation, something almost impossible to repair for a consumer goods maker, and it destroyed a concern that had once been the biggest in its field.
Once again, we are the Group 5 from BSBA 1B. Thank you for listening and have a good day, everyone.
There is just one Schlitz, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.